Hi everyone, since the beginning of James Gunn's DCU, the most discussed topic has been the Batman of this universe. After all, where is he? We already have the Superman movie, Supergirl coming next month. So when and how will we see the biggest character from DC and Warner Bros. Interact with other heroes? That's what will be discussed in this video. Well, back in January 2023, James Gunn announced the first DC Studios projects that would get into production, including Superman, Supergirl, The Batman Part 2, and of course, the DCU Batman movie, The Brave and the Bold. The film was initially announced as a father-son story, Batman and Robin, but with a rather peculiar detail. Robin will be Damian Wayne, Bruce's biological son, also known as the fourth and last Robin. Around that same time, Andy Muschietti was also announced as the movie's director, a status that seems to remain to this day, causing distrust among fans, since Muschietti was the director of the unsuccessful The Flash that same year. And as if that weren't enough, more recently Gunn confirmed Christina Hodson as the film's screenwriter, with the same director and screenwriter from The Flash hired for The Brave and the Bold. The feeling is that we have all the ingredients for a major flop. To make matters worse, we still don't have a cast or a release date. This is due to the delay of The Batman Part 2, which was originally planned for release in October 2025, but ended up being postponed to the same month in 2027. This also delayed the DCU Batman. Since it's out of question for DC to release the Batman films in the same year, they need a gap between them. This would put the release date for The Brave and the Bold around 2028 or 29 at worst. But now let's talk about what this movie could be like, starting with Robin. It goes without saying that Batman movies lack Robin, and this movie definitely needs Robin. However, should it be Damian Wayne? Don't get me wrong, Damian is a great Robin. I love the dynamic of how Bruce sees him as a younger version of himself. But it's not the best option for a first movie. This would make Batman too experienced. With at least 10 to 15 years of experience as a vigilante, he would be too old compared to Superman, who is in his early 30s. Batman should be in the same age range. A good fan cast, and one of the most popular, is the actor Nate Mann as Bruce Wayne. He's only 28 years old and is an excellent option for a new Batman franchise in the long run. Not to mention that his voice perfectly fits the character's characteristic deep tone.
It's like coming into a land, like in episode 6 or something. So here, if this engine goes down, here's the procedure, right? Here's why that procedure exists. Here's these gauges, here's these switches to flip so that when we're in there and we're in the scene and there's 6 cameras rolling.
Back to Robin. Ideally, they should start with Dick Grayson, the first of them. His origin story wouldn't even need to be told here, since most of the audience already knows that his parents, the Flying Graysons, were murdered by the mob, leaving Dick an orphan. This moves Bruce, who sees a parallel between himself and the boy, leading him to adopt him. Bringing the father-son relationship between Batman and Robin to the big screen is the ideal path this version should follow, even to set itself apart from other versions we have in cinema, to further set apart it from Matt Reeves' Batman. For instance, this film's approach could highlight the more fantastical and comic booky side of Batman. To achieve this, they could bring in villains and threats never before explored in the films, such as Killer Croc, Solomon Grundy, and Mr. Freeze, more similar to the animated series version. A good option for the main villain would obviously be the Joker. The most popular fan cast is Bill Skarsgård, given his experience playing clowns. And yes, I know it would sound repetitive to have the Joker featured as a major role in the movies again, but think about it. If Superman started with his archenemy, Lex Luthor, why couldn't Batman? DC Studios needs to keep in mind that this could be the start of a long-term franchise, establishing basic elements in the first film, like Dick being the first Robin and the Joker as the big bad, gives them a base, and from there they can expand the Bat family throughout the films, as well as Batman's extensive rogues gallery. This is a much better approach than starting with almost everything already established. I mean, imagine seeing Jason Todd die in a movie and then later returning as Red Hood. That would be dope. If they follow this path, this could be the definitive live-action Batman adaptation, especially if they use the '92 animated series as a blueprint. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments, and please don't forget to drop a like and sub for more.